Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us on this edition of Vaudeville Recognition TV. Today, we're going to be talking about peer-to-peer recognition, and as always, we encourage you to send us your questions through the chat room. And Kim is actually in there. She'll be fielding your questions and sending them to us as we go. Following the broadcast, we will have some information on our blog with a lot of the details of what we talked about today. And you'll also receive a follow-up email asking you for some feedback and some ideas for future webcasts, so please look for that. Well, today we're talking about peer-to-peer recognition, and we are glad to have our Vaudeville HR manager, Cindy, with us. Cindy has over 15 years of HR experience, and she really does it all here at Vaudeville. She leads our Spirit team, which plans all of our employee events and a lot of our recognition programs. And about a year and a half ago, she implemented a peer-to-peer recognition program here at Vaudeville. So she's going to share some of her expertise and experience through a Q&A format. So please send your questions in. So Cindy, thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome.
To get us started, can you tell us what is peer-to-peer recognition?
Well, at Vaudeville, we coined that as a genuine expression of appreciation between coworkers. So peer-to-peer recognition really provides a very low-cost tool for that sincere, genuine, handwritten note.
Great, and tell us a little bit about Vaudeville's peer-to-peer recognition program and how it works.
Well, we created a program called Shoutouts, and this program reinforces our brand, our values, and our culture. We really want to focus on encouraging the desired behavior and performance that we really want to see. So on that note, I'll show you my shout out that I wrote to Corey, so I can show you how this works. I put Corey's name on it. I wrote a little message, and Corey does a great job of planning our webisodes and our trade shows, and she's very organized and everything is top notch. So I have a shout out here for Corey. So it actually, ours are customized, so it has my name on it. It says from the megaphone of Cindy Gilman, and has my note, and it has the core values on it. So I've indicated which core value Corey has demonstrated, and she demonstrated them all. So she did a great job. And the bottom portion is actually perforated, so I take that and tear that off, and this would go in a collection box, and then the shout out would go to actually go on the board, and we have boards here that are made in the shape of the exclamation point in our logo, so it would get posted on that board in a public place where everyone can see it.
That's great, and that public recognition really gets a lot of bang for its buck, because other people will see those shout outs up and they'll say something like, Cindy, hey, I saw Dave sent you a shout out, that's great, way to go. And we also recognize people for being really creative with their shout outs. You can see Cindy's added some special detail to hers with some color, some designs, and so people here have actually gotten recognized for being really creative by attaching pictures or emails from customers. So we also created a program for our customers, right, Cindy?
We did, and we like our program so well that we thought everybody else should have a program, and so we have different themes, and this one is the exclamations theme, and these should be posted in a public place. So you want these to be accessible tools, and these can again be posted on the bulletin board, or you could give someone individually, one-on-one, if you have someone who maybe wouldn't appreciate the public recognition as much, you can make that very personal and very genuine by just handing it to them.
Great. Well, and I know that the Shoutouts program can be really beneficial, Cindy, because I've obviously experienced it, but how would you convince some of our viewers that they should implement a peer-to-peer recognition program?
Well, I think by creating a peer-to-peer recognition program, you're really empowering those employees to give recognition. It gives control in their hands without having to have that manager approval. And as a manager, you can't be at all places at all times, so you're not always seeing what is going on in the workplace. So this really does give employees that opportunity to recognize each other. They're looking for the positives, so that's their focus. What can I recognize? The program requires very little administration. So you'll do a little bit of training, you'll present your program, and then you can really sit back and watch the program and really watch the positive culture. You may want to track your recognition. I would recommend that. And you don't really have to be that involved in the day-to-day operations, so it's a great program.
Wonderful. What are some of the business results companies might see when they implement and operate a peer-to-peer recognition program?
Well, definitely a positive impact. I like to say that there'd be a little bit of positive mojo going on as we have here at Vaudeville. And again, looking for the positive in everyone. Sometimes employees will tend to be complaining, but if we can focus that attention on that positive and give employees the ability to recognize each other, that certainly they'll feel appreciated. It creates some definite job satisfaction. I also know that if we have happy employees, we'll have happy customers, and then hopefully our happy customers will purchase more product from your company. So overall, it is a great impact on your company, and I would definitely encourage it for the low cost and what little bit of setup and administration it takes.
What advice will you give to our viewers who are interested in starting a peer-to-peer recognition program at their own organization?
Well, first and foremost, I would say make sure that you're reinforcing your company brand, your value, your culture, again, what behaviors and performance that you really want to see. And then, so you can create a theme that would tie all of that together, or you can use one of our different programs, and we have actually 4 different themes. We have the exclamations theme that Corey has there, and one more is the essential piece theme that Corey is showing. You want to make sure that you get buy-in early in the program. So make sure that you have executive level and managers on board that they're excited about this program, they're encouraging it, and as well they are using it. So don't try to do it on your own.
And one of our other popular peer-to-peer recognition programs is Spot On. And Spot is a great program because it can be very versatile. You can see at the front here, you can actually write the goals or behaviors that you want people to recognize. And then you have your own little mascot, Spot. And we've used Spot internally for a lot of positive culture events. Spot's traveled all over the world with our employees who then send back their pictures that we share internally and on his Facebook page. So there are a lot of fun things you can do with the peer programs in addition to the recognition, just to create that positive work culture. So Spot is a great program, and I recommend you look into that one as well. So Cindy, what are some of the key elements of a peer-to-peer recognition program that our viewers should keep in mind as they go through this program process?
Well, first we want to make sure that the tools are accessible. So whether or not we give employees their own tools, as we've done here, we've customized them, but they don't have to be customized. You want to make sure that they're in a public place. I would also say you want to make sure that you're posting them in a public place so that employees are stopping to look at those shout-outs. Now what we also did is we have 4 different boards in the shape of the exclamation point. But we use one board for week 1, so you always know where the newest shout-outs are. Instead of trying to look through the whole month's worth, you can actually stop and see where the newest ones are. I would say, again, buy-in from management and leadership to make sure that they're on board. That's very important, and they need to be active in using the program. And then you'll also want to measure and track usage and participation.
Well, and one of my favorite parts about our program internally, in addition to the boards and how we kind of schedule those out, is the fact that at the end of each month, once all 4 boards are full, all of those notes come down and get distributed to employees. So if Cindy wrote me a shout out, I'm going to get that at the end of the month, and I can keep and display it at my desk. And as you walk around our office here at Vaudeville, you see them on everyone's desk. So they're certainly a source of pride, and that's one of the other great elements, parts of a peer-to-peer recognition program, is the fact that that recognition really never ends. It just keeps cycling, and people, feel motivated and feel that recognition all the time.
And I would say on that note, just keeping the momentum going, with any type of recognition is a little bit challenging. So you have to think of some new ways. How can we make this fresh? For us, we have all staff meetings, and sometimes I'll do some random recognition of someone who wrote the most shout-outs or someone who received the most shout-outs, and I'll really change it up. So some of that employees don't know what I'm going to recognize, so it encourages them. We also have a goal to meet 100% participation. So if we can get every employee to write a shout-out, we'll do something, maybe a special snack or a treat, or let's see, what's our favorite thing around here?
Maybe
Corey?
a casual day.
A casual day,
That would
yes.
be nice.
Everybody loves casual days. So just keep working to make it fresh.
Great. Well, Kim, do we have any questions from the chat room about peer-to-peer recognition?
We do. We actually have a couple.
Great.
One that came in quite a bit earlier. They have a team that's kind of spread out rather than being together in the same department, either across the country or in different areas of the world.
Okay.
So they were just wondering how you can go about creating that team environment and peer recognition in that type of a situation.
Well, one of the things you could certainly do is, have a peer-to-peer program that's, you could do an online version or an offline version. And offline, I would say you should have that spot or that shout-out program at each of those individual locations. But then maybe you have a common intranet page or Facebook page where you can show where spot is, who's got spot now in each of those individual offices. So you can still have that really personal recognition happening at the physical location, but then also bring people together. Our website also has free e-praise, is what we call their e-cards that we use specifically for recognition in the workplace. And I would also recommend incorporating those, since you can send them to everyone, regardless of where they are in the world. Cindy, do you have anything to add?
The only other thing I thought of was maybe if there was a collection place where you would put your recognition of someone who works in another office in another state in another country, and then maybe at the end of the month you sent one package, one envelope, and sent them all over, and it'd be a fun thing, once a month you could open that and hand those out.
That's a great idea. Well, Kim, what was our second question?
They asked, what are your suggestions with getting management on board and participating in the program?
Oh, that's a great question. Cindy, you want to talk about that a little bit?
I think that's really an easy one. Once you talk about the benefits of this program, taking a little bit of weight off of managers, so instead of them feeling like they have to be the one who writes all of the recognition, now it puts the onus on employees to take part of that and to really buy in. So I think that's a really easy one to win managers over on, because when you create that positive culture, that is just so important.
And I think another way to get managers on board is to talk to them early. I mean, don't wait until you're ready to launch the program and then share with them what it's going to be, how it's going to work. But try to involve them in the process. And that's like Cindy said, get other people involved. Don't feel like you have to do this alone. Get a couple of key managers who can help you, and then they can kind of be those champions in different areas of the company. And that will help encourage other managers as well as employees to get involved.
I think it also puts a little bit of the spotlight less on the manager, so that they don't always have to remember to send that note or whatever, because other people are also recognizing as well.
Absolutely. And that's one of the benefits of peer-to-peer recognition, is that more people are going to receive recognition. If just a manager is the only one who has that ability, they may recognize maybe one, two, maybe if they're really into recognition, maybe more people in a month. But when you have peer-to-peer recognition, everyone has the opportunity to be recognized every week, depending as they relate with their different coworkers. Well, Kim, anything else from the chat room? Any other questions that you have out there that we can answer?
Somebody did ask about the tracking that you mentioned. They were saying that they didn't know if that would actually be part of the evaluation process, or how you go about using the peer recognition information that you have.
Well, that's another great point. I always think it's great for managers to keep a record of who they recognized, what they recognized, and when, because that can become very helpful for performance evaluations, and also if you have any major awards at your company, so that you can look back and say, such and such was really went above and beyond this year, and I want to make sure they get some extra recognition. Anything you want to add, Cindy?
From a tracking standpoint, our IT team has set up this savvy little system. I think it's fairly simple, where we enter in all of the information from the receipts, and then it's captured in a spreadsheet, so we can actually look and see which core values are being recognized, who's doing the recognizing, who's receiving it, and then also look at our level of participation to offer that incentive.
And the Spot On program actually does include a receipt portion. Here's the card that you would use. So like similar to our Shoutouts program, this perforates off. So you do have a record, and with your Shoutouts, if you were to use the Shoutouts program or another similar program, you do have who it was to and who it was from. So you could just collect all those at the end of the month, is our suggestion. and make a quick recording of those so that you have that information to use for those various purposes. Well, that's all the time we have today, so I just wanted to leave you with some information about a few resources available to you if you're planning a peer-to-peer recognition program. First, we have this free white paper about peer-to-peer recognition available in our resource center. It's under the white papers section. I think Kim is going to send you a link. It's got a lot of tips. It has information about the benefits, so it can help you with that management buy-in as well as getting started. Second, really want to encourage you to visit our blog. Cindy's got a post that's going to go up as soon as this is over, sharing some of the information that we covered today. And there's also a category list on the right-hand side, the right navigation, and you can use that to click on peer recognition, and we have several different articles on the topic available there. And finally, if you're starting your peer-to-peer recognition program and you've got some more questions, really encourage you to become a fan or like our Facebook page. We will answer your questions there, and there's also 1,000 other practitioners who can help you by sharing their experiences. So please engage with us there. Well, I'd really like to thank Cindy for being a part of our webisode today and sharing her expertise. And thank you again for joining us today. I hope this is really helpful information, and we will see you next month. Thank you.